Hello everyone. Today we'll be talking an important topic, a postgraduate study and postgraduate study from United States. And I'm hosting Respect Graduate officials, and I will let them introduce themselves, and we'll start our conversation. Mr. Suleyman, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Suleyman Eris. I'm the president of the Respect Graduate School, and mainly we are a school that gives Master of Arts degree in Islamic Studies, as well as we have some other certificate programs going on. So I'm basically the leading person of the institution.
And I'm Walter Wagner. I am not Muslim, I am a Christian, and I have been teaching about Islam for only about 30 years. I'm still learning a great deal. I am the vice president and one of the professors also at the Respect Graduate School, and have been with Suleyman involved from the very beginnings of the school.
I see. Mr. Walter, let's start with the location of the place. I think you are in Pennsylvania as a state, but where exactly you are? Why did you set up in where you are, and what is the environment like for a student to come in and study there?
We are in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. It's very close, 60 miles north of Philadelphia, about 90 miles west of New York City, and Bethlehem is part of a three-city grouping. Right away, we're close to New Jersey, metropolitan areas of New York City and Philadelphia as well. The area is approximately 250,000 people in those three cities, Easton, Bethlehem, and Allentown. Allentown is the third largest city in the state, a little more than 100,000 people. Ethnically and religiously, we are quite diverse. The diversity has been for more than a century in this region. Frequently, there have been Syrian and Lebanese persons here for generations and have made their contributions. Most recently, people from Iran, Pakistan, India, as well as from the Arab nations as well. Many are engineers and teachers as well. We have a number of academic institutions and hospitals. Near New York City, close to us, are major Arab and Western Asian, Turkish, Turkmenistan, Armenian, Azerbaijani persons. We have Buddhist communities, as well as several Hindu temple areas, and Shia as well as Sunni Muslims.
So I see you have a befitting name for such a diverse community, Respect Graduate School. So what are you trying to do in there?
I think what we are trying to do, our mission is to study Islam, to share our knowledge, and then to also serve our communities and our world. This really means that we see ourselves as a resource to the larger Muslim and American not Muslim communities as well. And we have one of the best Muslim-oriented libraries in the region with it.
At that point, I can see the very neat library behind you. Probably part of it from what I remember from the videos. Mr. Suleyman, what sort of programs do you offer in Respect Graduate School?
Currently, we have in English language we have two important programs. One of them is the master's degree in Islamic Studies that we give, and the other one is the Quran certificate program. Basically, it's a certification program. And Master of Arts in Islamic Studies is an online program, totally online. Therefore, we can drive from students from all parts of the world, basically. Similarly, the Quran certification program is all online as well.
Let's start with Quran certificate program. What does it mean? Does that basically mean you give a certain knowledge about Quran, or just teaching how to read Quran, or what should the listeners should take away from it? And is that online as well? I think you haven't mentioned that as an online course.
It is totally online, yes. And the Quran certification program is basically for the general public who wouldn't be really interested in depth study of Islamic studies, like an academic level of study. So most of the Muslims in the world today are not Arabs. Therefore, they don't know the Arabic language. When they sit and read the Quran, most of the Muslims do it on a daily basis. When they do such an act, they do it only for the purpose of spirituality. Maybe, if they pick up the Quran on the day of Friday and they say, this is a holy day, let me sit and read the chapter Yasin. And the purpose for such a recitation usually would be, as I mentioned, to gain some spiritual benefit out of the Quran. Primarily since they don't know the Arabic language, they don't usually understand what they read. So the purpose of this certification program is to mainly teach them the Quranic Arabic in 2 semesters with two courses that we are offering, as well as provide them some type of introductory knowledge about the Quran, the history of tafsir, basically Quranic exegesis, and provide them some of the traditional rules and perspectives in terms of how to approach Quran when you want to establish a relationship between you and the Quran on the basis of understanding and meaning. So with this certification program, basically we try to pick up a regular daily Muslim and elevate their level of relationship with the Quran by teaching them the Arabic language and enabling them to establish a personal relationship between them and the Quran on the basis of understanding and acquiring meaning out of the Quran.
So this looks like anyone can attend for this course in general. And how many lessons in 2 semesters? Is it an intensive program, or like per week, for instance? How many hours someone has to dedicate for this course?
In total, in the certification program, we have 4 courses, and 2 of them are related to Arabic language, primarily Quranic Arabic. The goal that we have in those 2 courses is to provide the Quranic Arabic rather than daily spoken language. Therefore, what we do is primarily we pick up the examples that we use from the Quran itself, as well as we focus on reading and understanding rather than listening or speaking or writing. So in those 2 courses, in the first semester, we spent 14 weeks. And in each week, the students and the teacher will get together synchronically, meaning that at the same time, and face-to-face through online connection. and they basically study the word, which is technically described as sarf in Arabic language. And this is going to take place 3 times a week. And after each meeting for an hour, the students will have their own homeworks to do so that they can really improve their Arabic language. So this is going to be the first course in Arabic, which will last 14 weeks. And each week, 3 times, the students get together for an hour. And the structure is going to be the same for the second semester for the nahw, basically about the knowledge of the sentence in Arabic. And again, the concentration will be on reading and understanding, and the goal is to enable the student to really understand the sentences and the verses of the Quran, at least with the help of dictionary after completing these 2 Arabic courses.
So this is not like one of those courses that actually aims general people to speak at least a little bit of Arabic. Basically, this is mainly for Quranic Arabic, a bit, let's say, classical Arabic, specifically to understand Quran, and picks its examples from the Quran in 2 semesters to cover the main structure in there, so they can actually improve themselves afterwards. Is that right?
Exactly, exactly. As I said, most of the Muslims definitely, they love the Quran, they read the Quran on a regular basis. But since they don't have the Arabic language understanding, they are not able to really get into the meaning levels of the Quran. And with this program, we basically want to kind of connect the Muslims with the Quran itself on the level of meaning and understanding. Therefore, even the language instruction is primarily concentrated on the Quranic text.
So, Mr. Wagner, I should say Professor Wagner, I don't know, but the second part, the Islamic master's degree, Islamic Studies or master's degree. So, what is that? You know, would you like to tell us a bit about it? What does that mean, master degree? And
okay. There are, as we have structured it, really 2 ways in which a student can go. If the student is more interested, as Suleyman has said, that many of our students do not want to go on for doctoral studies, although they could, with one of the tracks that we have, that for general students, they can take a series of courses that we would have that would prepare them to be more active, faithful persons within their religious communities. They could be journalists and so forth, teachers perhaps in mosque schools, and generally well informed. That's one area. The second area would be a more academic area in which the persons would be going on for a doctoral, thinking of going on to an advanced study, either on a PhD level or a similar level with that, so that they would be prepared. In the United States, very often a college curriculum, a university curriculum, will have general courses. I have taught for a long period of time in colleges and in theological seminaries. And the courses tend to be very, frankly, thin. Maybe you get a couple of weeks or a couple of sessions on Islam, then a couple of sessions on Buddhism, Hinduism, and so on. This program would be, as we would work it out, that this program would be a much more in-depth program, so as to both prepare for persons who can go on in academic work, as well as for persons who can become key Muslim leaders within their communities and in the general public as well. They could become, for example, dialogue leaders in cultural organizations, many of the Arab cultural or Turkish cultural organizations, so that they would become informed. As Suleyman has said, part of the program would be to get their taqwa, their spirituality straight, more or less, with it. But on the other hand, now also to do it that they can speak intelligently about the faith, especially in its relationship to the culture.
So Mr. Suleyman, as Walter nicely put out, it's an in-depth program, but you are aiming to give this mostly online, or it is at least offering to online students as well. So how do you convey a master's degree online? What is the structure? If I were to join in, let's say, step by step, what would I have to do, and how my lessons will continue, and how I would submit, if ever I would submit a thesis, a master thesis?
The program consists of 12 courses, and Respect Graduate School is partnering with Charles Sturt University in this MA degree in order to kind of enhance the quality of the education, as well as provide a degree to our students which can be acceptable in all parts of the world. Because with this partnership, at the end of their journey, students receive their degree from Charles Sturt University, which is a very old and established university in Australia. And as we mentioned earlier, the program is totally online. For the local students, we are also open to have them in the classroom setting. So in a sense, we can call the structure as a hybrid structure. The students who are able to come to the campus, they can come and sit in the classroom, have face-to-face interaction with their teachers. For those who are not living in the United States, or they are not close by to our campus, they can log in to the courses through online. And since the courses are going to be instructed synchronically, they are going to still be able to communicate with the teacher, ask the question, or make the comments about the subjects they are studying. The content of the program that we have is very much traditionally structured. Basically, we go through with the traditionally established Islamic sciences like usul al-fiqh, usul al-tafsir, tafsir, hadith, Quran recitation, qira'ah, basically. And we go by the semester structure. Therefore, the courses will be 14 weeks. And each week, the students will get together with the student, with their professor, once a week, 3 hours. So this is how the courses are going to be structured.
And is this open for every graduate, or do you specifically market this to, let's say, theology graduates? Does this require a pre-education, for instance, a sociology graduate or a history graduate, for instance? Would they be able to join this, or is this a specific course for more knowledgeable people about religion, or graduated a similar topic?
It is open to every type of person who, let's say, as you mentioned, received her bachelor's degree in sociology or physics or mathematics. basically the subject, the previous subject they have studied doesn't really matter. We are open to every type of interest, but the qualifications in terms of what we require from the students is that they should have their bachelor's degree in their hand already, as well as they should be able to speak and engage into academic study in the English language, basically, because the program is totally in English. The professors are teaching in English. For those who are not competent enough in terms of their academic English language, we also have extracurricular academic English study program. So for those who are interested about our program but not having real solid English language, they can apply to our academic English program, and they can improve their language skills and then continue with the master's degree in Islamic Studies.
At this point, Walter, what do you teach, for instance, in this the master's degree, for instance? Which lessons do you teach?
That is a good question, boss. I have been teaching on the Introduction to World Religions. I have taught here, as well as in other schools, Bible and Quran, Christianity and Judaism and Islam in confrontation and dialogue, which would be basically history as well as theology in all the cases for that. I might add to what Suleyman said. I've taught on the online courses in the past. I would also establish, this might be of interest to potential students, to try to build a personal relationship with each student by having certain hours, let's say on a weekend, on Sunday evening, where I would say the professor's door is open and that students could contact me on the platform on the computer platform we have, and that they can come and try out ideas or get clarification or tell me they didn't understand what I had been doing with them, so that we can work together. That's a challenge in terms of online courses. I don't know what it is in the United Kingdom, but education, higher education in the United States is in a crisis mode. There are many schools that are closing, downsizing, becoming affiliated with different institutions, many of them of long standing. And we need to recognize the society has changed. I'm old enough, obviously, to have been more used to a blackboard, chalk, and an eraser. And now I have, the old guy has to learn new tricks.
So who else, for instance, in the academic board you have, for instance, who else is teaching the student as a prospective student? Anyone would want to know what is the teachers and their profile look like in Respect Graduate School?
Our Dean of Academics, Halim Chalish, he's an expert in Quranic Studies. He received his PhD from Chicago University with Michael Sells, who is probably the best name in the US for the Quranic Studies. We also have a few scholars from around the world, basically. We have Dr. Hakan Gönk from England. He received his PhD from again, a well-known name, Colin Turner, as his advisor. He is going to teach about theology and Islamic worldview. We have Arhan Kardash, another good scholar from Germany, and he did his dissertation in women in Islam, and especially he approached to the subject from the Islamic law point of view. We also have an adjunct faculty from Columbia University, Dr. Züleyha Çolak. She is going to teach Islamic spirituality. Walter is with us always, and basically he's concentrating on comparative religious studies. So these are the main faculty members that we have. And as I mentioned, this is a program that is executed in partnership with Charles Sturt University. So we, as Respect Graduate School, are teaching 8 courses, and CSU is teaching 4 courses. So for 8 courses, we already have about 6 different faculty members. So the students will have a diverse and faculty members with different backgrounds and different specializations in their subject of study, basically. I think the students who are interested in Islamic studies are going to be really satisfied with the professor profile that we have, as well as the knowledge and enthusiasm they will bring into the classroom.
I would suggest also that the faculty members continue to study. They are growing, as Halim Chalish, for example, does. I still try to grow for it. And that's a very important part, to keep current in the field, and then to contribute to the field, especially, I think, in the United States and in the United Kingdom, since there's a lot of misinformation and distorted information about Islam. We need to have, as much as possible, the Islamic, the Muslim voices, not only non-Muslim voices like mine, but the Muslim voices need to be heard, and need to be heard clearly and with forcefulness, and yet also clarity for it. That's one of our major reasons for existence, is to make sure that the Islamic voice is heard, understood, and then appreciated within the society.
I see. And having an online degree, or that's having a setting that provides that online degree, I can see that you have actually a wide pool to source your professors, one from United Kingdom, another from Germany, so it doesn't have to be all in United States. And I can see the strength in there. But one last question, and you can both share your opinion with this. As in today's world, any student who wants to pay for a degree and study for it would like to know what exactly he is getting in return, and what sort of things he can do with his master's degree, let's say. What would you say to that?
With this master's degree, since the degree is basically acceptable in all parts of the world, that has to be known. The education that we are providing here in terms of its tuition is very moderate. The whole degree can be obtained under $14,000 in total, which is a very moderate tuition. So this is another positive aspect of this program. Being online is also is an important addition because anyone from any part of the world can join. And lastly, the students, when they graduate from this program, they can be religious leaders, they can be imams, they can be teachers in religious settings, religious schools, as well as if they really continue their education and kind of certifications, even in non-secular, even in secular educational settings, they can be teachers by teaching social sciences. There are different jobs out there who are really interested in, let's say, Middle East, in Islam as a subject, like journalists. This might be another venue for the students to kind of find a job and produce some income for them through the degree they earned. And especially in the case of United States, as well as I'm assuming in some other Western countries of the world, there is this position called chaplaincy, which students can be a religious leader or motivational leader or social leader or basically a counselor in universities, in hospitals, in jails, prison systems, as well as in armies, even in the mega companies, big companies. So these are the general areas that students can find a job after graduating from the program.
Dr. Walter, what do you say about this? You know, with that historical experience behind you, you see where the universities rise and fall, institutions are reorganizing themselves. What the students can do with their degrees acquired from Respect Graduate?
I would agree with, certainly I would agree with what Suleyman has said with that. But as he indicated, the chaplaincy program is also very important. Along with this, what universities are looking for are faculty members. They may start out as adjuncts, as part-time, but they want people who have a diversity of skills. I constantly have told my students they must be marketable, and not only in terms of knowing a great deal about religion in general, they need to have a specific area that they can aim at and contribute to. And we are basically, I believe, still, at least as far as the East Coast of the United States is concerned, we are the only Muslim-owned, Muslim-run, except of course for people like me, Muslim-run graduate schools that offer a master's degree in Islamic Studies. Other schools will be offering a master's degree of religion in general, but here we can focus and give the connections to the other religious communities.
At this point, I want to ask one last question because the work you do is a newly emerging area, and especially for Muslims to claim a place in this particular field. But there is one group of potential students who would probably be interested in this, is that the madrasa graduate Maulanas in, let's say, in India Pacific, you know, in Deoband and Pakistan and different places. These people don't hold a degree, but they have a vast majority of education in traditional senses. And let's say, do you offer anything for them, or do you expect them to at least prove that, you know, they have a secular degree from a university?
Uh,
I
according to
mean,
the
my question comes from this point. Let me clarify that a little, because in the United Kingdom, this is this also seen as a newly emerging area, and there are some schools that offer similar stuff, and they basically take the madrasa graduate Molanas as if they are graduated from a university, and then let's say introduce their traditional knowledge and try to transfer into a bit more modern, so they can actually use that in chaplaincy, let's say, or in a mosque environment more efficiently, in connecting youth in a better way. So I can see your program actually can communicate a couple of million more people, if it were to, if you have that in mind or not. I just wanted to know that.
according to the laws and regulations that we follow, we can accept some students who are not university graduates, but this this should be limited in terms of how many students or what type of what percentage acceptance that we can give to such students in respect to the general student body of the students that we have. So basically, the answer is yes, they would be acceptable, but the percentage is limited in comparison to university graduates, basically.
I would also add that in terms of attitude, as our name is, we would respect the theological leanings and interpretations. We would respect that, but we'll also ask students to respect other positions than their own, and that they would engage in a dialogue with their fellow students as well as with the faculty. One of the courses which we have had in the past and probably will continue in some ways, built into the courses, would be one on the Western way, the Northern European, North Atlantic understandings, the Enlightenment and post-Enlightenment work, which can be very challenging for students who come from a very conservative traditional background. We would respect, we would present, and then we would ask for respect as well for different positions. We do not have an ideological perspective here. That is, we can be asked, well, what kind of Islam do you teach? Mm-hmm. We have been asked that on occasion. And we say that there are different interpretations, that there are groundings that are present in all of them. So we work together so the student is able to function in different settings across the society.
So in that sense, a famous Irish story goes in United Kingdom that someone asks, "Are you Catholic or a Protestant?" And the guy answers, "I'm a Muslim." And they say, "Yes, but are you a Catholic Muslim or a Protestant Muslim?" So in that case, so your program doesn't have that sort of an Shia Sunni affiliation or any specific limited to any specific school of thought within Islam, or like just like you teach comparative world religions, you also offer in detail information about all sects and all school of thoughts.
Yes, we are open to Shia Sunni approaches. That, in fact, that is one of our graduates. Is a leader within the Shia community in this area, and she contributed a great deal to our courses. She made clear her position, and others made clear their positions as well. And it was, from what I understand, I had her for an independent study, but from what I understand, it was appreciated on both sides.
As a final note, is there anything else that you would want to mention? Because it was an interesting conversation, but just like every interesting conversation, it has to end. Is there anything that you want to mention apart from all the technicalities? I'm sure it's on your website, and it will be written somewhere on the screen as we speak, and the people who are interested can check that out for themselves. But is there any final words, Mr. Suleyman?
I would like to thank you for hosting us today. That was very helpful for us in terms of getting the word out. I appreciate for that. And for those who are interested about our programs, I just want to say the courses are starting in September. So if they are thinking to apply, it is time to apply.
And I would second what Suleyman has said, that thank you very much. And it is a pleasure for me and an honor to work here as well. And I hope that there will be others who will participate in that pleasure by becoming our students.
I'm sure there will be, and I am already looking forward to come and visit you sometime, maybe in September, who knows. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your attending the program. I would advise you to go and have a look at their website. Thank you for watching.